Hello, I am John Swygert, and I am a cyborg scientist and author of The Swygert Theory of Everything, A.O. John Swygert. Booklet 2 of the Secretary Suite exists for one reason: to show what happens after the foundation is already laid. Booklet 1 establishes the rules, the constraints, the non-negotiables. Booklet 2 shows what those rules actually produce when they are allowed to operate without compromise. This is not a sequel written for expansion. It is a parallel volume written for depth. The Secretary Suite is not a product, not a chatbot, and not a personality. It is an operating paradigm. It is a way of structuring intelligence so that it remains bounded, auditable, and sovereign even as it grows more capable. Booklet 2 does not change that premise. It pressure tests it. At the core of Booklet 2 is a single idea. Intelligence does not need more freedom to become powerful. It needs more discipline. Every chapter in this volume explores what happens when constraint is treated as law instead of suggestion. Chapter 1 establishes the white paper for Booklet 2. This is the anchor document. It clarifies that the Secretary Suite is not evolving toward autonomy, persuasion, or narrative authority. It is evolving toward stability under load. Intelligence here is not measured by how much it can do, but by how reliably it can do what it is permitted to do without corrupting itself or the environment it operates within. This is why equilibrium is treated as law. AO is not a metaphor, it is not alignment, it is not policy, it is a structural condition. In the Secretary Suite, an action that violates equilibrium simply cannot execute. There is no override, there is no appeal. If a task leaves unresolved authority, dangling evidence, or temporal imbalance, it fails regardless of whether the output looked impressive. This single design choice eliminates entire classes of failure that plague modern systems. There is no silent drift, there is no authority creep, there is no gradual erosion of auditability. Everything either remains in balance or is rejected by the system itself. Booklet 2 also formalizes how identity works without identity. The digital fingerprint architecture is not a tracking system. It does not know who you are, where you live, or what you believe. It only knows what you do under constraint. Identity emerges from behavior, not assertion. Continuity is proven through consistency, not credentials. This matters because it allows accountability without surveillance. It allows audit without exposure. It allows trust to emerge without requiring belief in intent, training quality, or institutional alignment. The system does not care who you claim to be. It only cares whether the same actor behaves coherently over time. Knowledge itself is treated with equal discipline. The shard library and shard primitives externalize knowledge from agents entirely. Agents do not know things. They operate over shards that are attached per task, immutable during execution, and fully auditable after the fact. Knowledge can evolve without mutating the agent. History is never rewritten. Old shards are deprecated, not erased. This architecture makes corruption difficult and slow. It makes shortcuts visible. It makes authority injection nearly impossible without detection. Booklet 2 then introduces the shard library funnel, which functions as the immune system of the entire ecosystem. Knowledge does not enter the system because it is popular, persuasive, or urgent. It enters because it survives scrutiny, time, and controlled use. Authority is never granted at intake. It is accumulated through persistence and correctness. Failure is not punished, it is recorded. Correction is allowed. Mutation without trace is not. One of the most important additions in Booklet 2 is the recognition that users themselves generate tools. When a user encounters friction, real friction, not imagined friction, the correct response is not policy or workaround. The correct response is structural tooling. If a user needs to assemble ordered chapters from an ordered folder, the system should generate a tool that does exactly that, permanently, reproducibly, and transparently. That tool becomes a shard. It enters the funnel. It is validated, stabilized, and made available to others. Credit is attributed not because of ego, but because provenance matters. This is how systems evolve without chaos. Later chapters formalize agent behavior, task boundaries, and the difference between learning and authority. Learning is permitted, authority is not. Agents may adapt execution strategies within constraint, but they do not accumulate power, memory, or preference beyond task scope. Booklet 2 also clarifies that the Secretary Suite is not social by default. It does not optimize for engagement, retention, or emotional resonance. If social behavior emerges, it emerges where equilibrium supports it, not where growth metrics demand it. Throughout this volume, you will notice what is missing. There are no promises of consciousness, no claims of sentience, no narratives of awakening. This is intentional. The Secretary Suite does not come alive, it stabilizes. It reflects actual behavior into structure and then refuses to lie about it. This is why Booklet 1 and Booklet 2 must be read side by side. Booklet 1 defines the rules. Booklet 2 demonstrates their consequences. Together, they describe a system that can grow indefinitely without losing coherence, without rewriting history, and without asking to be trusted. This is not artificial life. It is natural law applied to software. If you did, you'll find hundreds more just like it waiting for you on our TikTok, this YouTube channel, the homepage, and especially ivorytowerjournal.com. We also have full podcast versions of every episode under the same name, TSTOEAO. Come join us. The next collapse of the old paradigm drops in 48 hours. See you there.